There was record-breaking attendance at Calgary's BMO Centre this past weekend as more than 3,700 delegates attended the United Conservative Party's annual general meeting. It was a jam-packed weekend of events, so let's get started. One person is taking credit for why this year's numbers are so high. Executive Director of Take Back Alberta, David Parker, says he rallied thousands of people to the AGM to support democracy.
I think there's over 2,400 people from Take Back Alberta here, and they're all very engaged. Every annual general meeting of the United Conservative Party, and it's different for every party how they do this, but they elect half of the board every year that governs that party. And that board makes decisions like when nominations are going to be, when a leadership review might be, what the rules of the leadership review might be, where the leadership review might be. So all of these things are incredibly important. It's basically this board picks the rules of the game.
And while Parker's supporters hold numerous seats on the UCP board, Alberta Premier Danielle Smith says she's not concerned that more than half the board members are from TBA.
If anything, I would say what I hear mostly from people who want to seek a position on the board is they want to make sure that we have fair, open nominations, that we allow for a proper vetting procedure in advance of somebody being told of a race being open, so that people are told whether or not they're going to be allowed to run in advance. Those are the reasons why people go on a board.
There were dozens of protesters outside the BMO Centre, many of whom were holding signs saying, "Hands off my CPP." However, Premier Smith did not touch on her government's exploration into leaving the Canada Pension Plan in her keynote address. However, she took time to fire shots at federal leaders.
Even despite having their unconstitutional Bill C-69, which you know is the No More Pipelines bill, I've been calling that the Don't Build Anything Anywhere legislation, even despite losing on Bill C-69, that legislation was struck down by the Supreme Court. They are still hell-bent on imposing those destructive leftist policies on the people of Alberta. You know what I say to them? Not a chance. Not as long as I'm Premier.
Two major issues in which Smith received the most applause were the government's plan for disaggregation of Alberta Health Services and parental rights.
I want every parent listening today to hear me loud and clear. Parents are the primary caregivers and educators of their children.
Attendees also approved 29 of the 30 policy resolutions. These include banning the use of electronic voting machines and provincial funding to supervise consumption sites, and to refuse transgender women to be housed among biological female inmates in correctional facilities. A motion to implement a school voucher system was defeated. Policy resolutions are brought forward by party members and are non-binding, but they do provide grassroots direction on what it thinks the government's policies should be. For Bridge City News, I'm Naveen Day.